I was a police officer for over 20 years. I've responded to countless calls, and after a while they start to blend into one another. Having moved on now, I'm often asked, what's the one story or call that you can remember from your time on the force? Hands down, it was the call about the cat. One that you'll never believe. One that I've told to very few people because I always figure that no one will believe me. It was the dead of winter, an overcast day, gloomy. Right after lunch, my new partner and I got a call about a guy, just out on the outskirts of town, going hysterical over some cat. My partner was a newbie, a rookie, and this was just his second day. Great, I thought to myself, an easy one to get the rookie's feet wet. The call came in from a woman stating that her neighbor was, quote-unquote, losing his mind over a cat. The guy was screaming, acting erratic, going in and out of the house. When we pulled up to the house, the front door was wide open, and we could see movement in the darkness of the interior. As we exited our vehicle, we could hear the man screaming from inside. As we began making our way over, the man burst out of the front door and into the yard. He was wearing nothing but his underwear. His eyes were wild, and he was waving his arms around and shouting about a cat. His skin was sickly, like he hadn't seen a shower or sunlight in days. His screams were mostly incoherent, but we managed to pick out a few phrases. That cat, I want it gone, and I want it out. My partner and I exchanged looks as we tried to calm the man down. Usually we could predict how situations like this might pan out, most likely a drug-induced episode or a severe mental breakdown, but something about this was different. The raw fear in the man's voice was real. Having succeeded in tampering the man down, his screams were now just weird murmurs and mumbles. His movements were still erratic, but non-violent. It appeared that we had done well to de-escalate the situation some. Should we get this guy an ambulance? My partner asked. Probably wouldn't hurt, I said. Leaning towards the man, I gently grabbed his arm with my hand. Hey man, we got some people coming. We're gonna get you checked out, okay? Let's get you in the car where it's warm until they can get here and take a look at you, I remember saying. My partner ushered the man into the back of the car, and I popped the trunk to grab a blanket. As I was making my way back over, I saw the neighbor at a distance. Handing the blanket over to my partner, I told him to go ahead and call the ambulance in while I spoke with the neighbor. He nodded and grabbed the blanket. I didn't get much out of the neighbor. I spoke with her for a few minutes, and she said that she felt like the guy was deteriorating over the last few months. Every time she would see him, he looked like he was getting worse and worse. Anybody else over there? I asked her. Nope, I've only seen the guy. What about a cat? I asked. I haven't seen a cat, she said as the ambulance rolled up. I thanked the neighbor and walked back over to my partner. Having transferred responsibility of the man over to the paramedics, my partner looked at me and motioned to the house. Should we see if we can find this damn cat? He asked. Wouldn't hurt to check the place out, I said. As the paramedics worked on the guy, we made our way to the front door. We should have turned back right then. Stepping inside, the house felt completely off. It was dark, beat up and run down. The place was filthy, mold crawling up the walls, garbage thrown across the floor, and it just had a smell of decay. Stepping inside was like stepping into a portal. It was depressing, and it was cold in there too. The first thing that I noticed that was out of place was the flies. Lots of them. This didn't make any sense because it was the dead of winter, and again it was freezing in there. How could there be flies, this many of them, and in the middle of winter? We made our way around the trash in the living room and into the kitchen. Nothing. No cat. Making our way over to the entrance to the hallway, there appeared to be 3 bedroom doors and a door to a bathroom. You check out these 2 rooms and I'll get the bathroom and the bedroom at the end of the hall, I said to my partner. Got it, he said. I made my way down slowly, retrieving my flashlight to assist me. It was so dark and disgusting. We had our guard up too. The neighbor said there was no one else, but you can't ever be sure unless you check for yourself. The bathroom produced nothing but a tub, sink, and toilet that looked like they hadn't been cleaned in 10 years. I got nothing in here, my partner said. There's not even a bed, just trash and clutter, he said. I responded, all right, we'll check that other room, and I'll check this last one, and we can get the hell out of here. As I made my way over to the room at the end of the hall, I remember thinking about how eerie and quiet the place was. All I could hear was my partner's footsteps, along with my own, and the sound of flies as they buzzed around my head. The last bedroom was as bad as I thought it was going to be. The lights didn't work. There was a disgusting stained mattress, more trash everywhere, and blankets covering the windows. As I walked into the room, I picked up the sound of something scuffling around on the other side of the bed, on the floor. That damn cat, I thought to myself. I began to slowly walk around to investigate with my flashlight scanning the floor. Just as I was making my way around the foot of the bed, something darted over from the other side of the bed and into the opened closet. It was small, black, and skimmed across the floor like it was floating. The speed of this thing threw me, but I got a look at it and saw where it went. "Think I got it," I said to my partner. I could hear him walking down the hall now. As he did, I slowly creeped around to get a look at this thing. My flashlight inched across the floor and finally made its way into the closet. It revealed, to my surprise, absolutely nothing. Other than a single shoe and a food wrapper on the floor, there was absolutely nothing. No clothes, no cat, nothing. "What you got?" my partner, now standing beside me, asked. "Wait," I said. "I saw it run in here. It ran into this closet." I was so confused. I know I saw it run in there, but it wasn't there. "You sure?" my partner asked. "Yeah, man, I saw it. It ran in here." Both of us just stared at the empty closet, confused. My partner said. "Should we?" Before he could finish, I cut him off. "Yeah, I guess it's nothing. Let's get the hell out of here." I scanned the closet again one last time, up and down, side to side. I was sure that I had seen it run in there. I couldn't get over the fact that there was nothing. Both of us turned and walked to the bedroom doorway. He was in front of me, and as we rounded the corner, it darted across the other end of the hall, like it was going from the living room to the kitchen. "Did you see it?" my partner asked. "Yeah," I said, having caught just a glimpse of it as I was turning into the hallway. "It's in the kitchen," he said. We hurried down the hall and rounded the corner into the kitchen, and that's when we saw it. It was sitting on the floor, staring directly at us. It was thin and emaciated. You could see the thin skin crawling over its rib bones as it breathed. It was jet black and had no hair. It also looked like it didn't have a tail. It had long, skinny legs and just sat there locked onto us. Its eyes fogged over like it was blind, but we knew it could see us, and it was looking straight through us. My partner and I just froze. We didn't say anything. I think the sight of it just threw us off. We were thinking that we'd see a cat, with fur, meowing and purring, but this thing was none of those things. I'm not sure that it could even be considered a cat, but I guess that's the closest thing that it could be called. What it did next, though, shocked both of us and sent us scrambling. It was sitting on the floor, maybe about 2 to 2.5 feet in front of a thin strip of flat wall between the cabinets in the kitchen. It turned around, walked towards the wall, and then straight up the wall. Now, when I say it walked straight up the wall, I mean it walked. It didn't jump, and then claw at the wall and pull itself up and push with its hind legs. When it reached the wall, it stood up on its 2 hind legs, placed its front legs on the wall, and then just walked up the wall like it was part of the floor. When it got to the top, it turned, and then walked up on top of the cabinets to its right. It was like gravity didn't exist for this thing. Flies were everywhere now. There had to have been 50 of them. They were all over everything. Us, the counters, the cabinets, and the walls. Everywhere. This thing walked up onto the top of the cabinets and started walking back towards us in our direction. It took about 3 or 4 steps, and then it paused, just for a split second, and looked at us. Then it turned its head to the left and walked straight into the wall beside it. It disappeared. Gone. Into the wall. Not a hole in the wall. Straight into the wall beside it. It happened so quickly, neither of us had time to process it. We went from curiosity to panic in a split second. I jolted back and my partner flew back and stumbled over the couch. He started screaming, just like the man we pulled up on. What the F and holy, well, you know, is about all I could say. Both of us flew out the front door. We moved so fast that we were knocking things over left and right. What the F was that? What the F was that? My partner was asking in a panic. I don't know, man, I replied back. Both of us stumbled back to the car. not taking our eyes off of the front door of that house. "Did you see that?" my partner asked. "Yeah, I effing saw it," I said back. Other than the panicked breathing coming from the both of us, most of the drive back to the station was silent, like we were both just trying to process what we just saw. When we got to the station, we didn't say anything to anybody. We drew lots of looks and had 2 or 3 people ask if we were good, but neither of us said anything because we didn't want to look nuts. It's not a good look for police officers to be talking about disappearing cats. Honestly, the rest of the day was a blur. The next day, I got in a little early. I didn't get a lot of sleep that night, and I was awake anyways, so I just decided that I'd get in and get back to work, and maybe normalcy would settle back in. I was there for a little bit when I got a call from my partner. "Hey man, I'm not coming back in," he said. "I don't think this work is for me." "Listen," I said, "this isn't the type of thing that we typically..." And before I could even finish, he cut me off. "I know," he said, "but I'm done. I'm going to look for something else to do." And just like that, he was done. Didn't even make it to day 3. I stayed on the force for another 6 years before calling it quits myself. Never had another experience like it, thankfully. I got word that the man from the house was there another 2 weeks or so, and then split. Moved out of state or something. The house, it's still there. Boarded up and abandoned. That cat or whatever it is it still there? I got no idea. I'll tell you one thing though, I'm not ever going back there to find out. Thanks for tuning into another episode from the Alley of Nightmares. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Until next time,